He was a star KGB player. Now he holds the key to a Tower of Secrets. Hello everyone, this is Sunlight Kitten Sabra, and this is Let's Read Tower of Secrets. Now I'm going to read the introduction in this video, but I will not be reading the acknowledgments or the appendix. Anyways, here we go. As a professional, I find that the way intelligence is portrayed in books and the movies is often grossly distorted. Along with most other professionals, I believe that our mission has a little to do with the reckless car chases and the wild shootouts. Intelligence ends with the first shot fired. Real intelligence much more resembles a fascinating chess game, much complicated by the fact that not all the figures and their positions are known to the players. So in this book, I have tried to show the world of intelligence how it actually works. While I wrote the book for the general reader, I expect the professional intelligence officers may find some of the information in it useful, particularly where it complements their own knowledge and experience. The first part of this book was written in 1988, 2 years before my existence was revealed. However, the decision to publish the whole story came much later, when the events described could be told publicly. This may seem like a long delay, but in fact most of the information is new to the general public, and indeed to many in the intelligence community as well. It is quite usual for intelligence matters to enter public domain at least 20 years after the actual events took place. I should also note that no intelligence agency has had the right to review my manuscript, which makes this book absolutely uncensored. By the same token, I am morally obligated to limit the discussion of the boundaries which would assure that it would not have an adverse impact on the interests of the national security of the United States. A natural question, particularly in light of fast-moving political and social events in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, is whether the events that took place more than a decade ago still bear relevance to today, and especially tomorrow. In my view, the answer is clearly yes. The common notion that communism is dead badly needs clarification. The important point here is the definition of communism. It cannot be viewed simply as a political movement. Communism is not only an ideology, it is also a mentality, a mindset that is still alive and well. Historians will study the phenomenon of communism and its impact on the human race, that at the very least it took dozens of millions of lives around the world for generations to come. But now perhaps it's too early for that. Too many participants of the so-called Cold War, which sometimes took rather hot turns, are still living, and many of them have a vested interest in having the full truth remain unknown. My point here is that for some time to come, the West will be dealing with those who were brought up within the communist system and are still driven by a communist mentality. Therefore, it is imperative to understand those people who for at least 3 generations were raised in an atmosphere of hatred toward the West, if they are to be helped to understand the democratic values and join Western civilization. So for me, this book is a logical extension of the mission I gave myself when I and my family defected in 1980. I have attempted to expose the communist mentality as it operated in the KGB, the dedicated instrument of the communist power. The KGB is a most sophisticated, deviously intelligent organization, and far more dangerous than the bunch of brutal thugs often presented to the general public. The massively multi-layered complexity of the KGB is mind-boggling. Few people, even within the KGB, know enough to truly comprehend it. Despite the general perception of Soviet incompetence, it should be remembered that the Soviets drew on a culture that produced a long succession of great mathematicians and chess grandmasters. The fact is that whenever the Soviets established a major priority, they usually achieved extraordinary results. Soviet space, nuclear laser, and eavesdropping technologies are just a few examples. The operation of the KGB made full use of them, As a result, the KGB is probably the most deliberately and carefully created large organization in the world. All the parts of the KGB I describe are still in place. The KGB may have been renamed, but no one has been fired in the name of reform. Not for the first time, the KGB is in a data collection mode. Still 1 million strong, it has no real budget, because it is in fact a major profit center, and cost is no object. It is a classic example of management by objective. After much thought, I decided to write this book as a third-person account. For me, it is a natural form of expression. One of the characteristics of intelligence is that one develops a habit of viewing oneself from a side, to ensure objectivity of judgment. That habit becomes second nature, and I believe events are seen more clearly from this vantage point. Besides, in this introduction I have almost exhausted my reserve of eyes. For the reader's reference, a list of the KGB units pertinent to the events described here is presented in the appendix at the end of the book, which I will not be reading. And that's it for the introduction. Next time, we start Chapter 1. See you then.